Yeah, so it's definitely not over. Definitely not over. I mean, the number of times people have made me want to kill myself is just totally uncountable, and they never stop. I think, wait, oh, look at that. Nope, not done. Nope, all the same stuff. Nope, it's definitely not done. Definitely not done. Inflicting it on me, inflicting it on all sorts of people. Anyone who doesn't have any money to protect themselves, basically. It's just that's really all it is. Still these people that he's just totally enamored of, I guess. Absolutely. Yep. So okay, we can talk about this stuff. Sure, why not? Right. This guy's still here. Right. There's this and this. Right. And all this other crap. I don't even know. It's just like the last people in the world who should ever be president. Really, it's so stupid. It's so stupid and it's so awful. Right. All right. Why don't we talk about this? Why don't we talk about this guy and what is he wants to talk about? Yeah. I found this magazine when I was very, very young. I guess I was about 6. Called Forum, and it was like pornographic writing. It was totally by accident that I found it. I figured out how to masturbate from it. I had no idea it was going to happen. I had never known anything about that sort of thing. And here he is referencing to it. Obviously somebody from my family told him about it, told whoever it is all about it. Because I felt so bad. Like I was like, oh my God. And I remember it had been about a year since I had sort of read some of the stuff that was in it and sort of figured out how to have an orgasm. And I remember I had to go to the doctor. I had a doctor's appointment I was supposed to go to, and I just like I was totally sick to my stomach. I felt so guilty, not just guilty, but just like afraid. I was like, well. Because I was like, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. I was like, maybe if I go to this physical, they'll know, they'll be able to figure it out. And so I was just like crying because I didn't want to go to this doctor's appointment. And my mom, and then my dad was like, why are you crying? And I sort of explained it to him. And then he was like, basically what he said was, it's okay with me, if you do this. Like he wasn't like encouraging me to read pornography, but he was just like, well, I think he was just thinking to himself, she figured it out. I don't want to make her feel bad about having figured it out. And that was kind of all he said about it, which, was nice of him, except that they didn't really talk to me about it enough. And they didn't really, there weren't a lot of conversations about sex with my parents, which, it's kind of what a parent is supposed to do. What's this saying? I don't even know what you're trying to say, right? That you're just trying to get me to talk about it. Fine, I will talk about it, and I will show the world how hateful you are, right? You not only do you want to talk about me, right, and get me to talk about this, and sort of basically painful thing from my past. You also, what are you doing? Promoting child sexuality. I mean, it's like that. Yeah, I mean, kids have feelings, and it's a parent's responsibility to talk to them responsibly about it and not to make them feel guilty, but also to just help them understand, okay, well, to put it into context in terms of their lives. This is something private, you want to make sure that you're alone. You want to make sure if you talk to somebody else about it, that it's someone you can really trust. Don't let people make you feel bad about it, but you don't necessarily have to advertise it. I mean, there were conversations to have with kids about it once they figure it out. I mean, basically my feeling about kids is if they're at the point where they can ask the questions, you should answer their questions truthfully and at a level that they can understand, and to help them understand what's appropriate, right? And then there's things that you want to help them to understand at the age appropriate level, about all sorts of things in life and not just sex, right? But there he is, and he's had this up for days and days and days, and he's had this up for I don't even know. I mean, it's just to try to make people think bad things about me, right? That's all it is, right? And you're telling me this guy's supposed to be president? Oh yeah, is that right? Why don't you end it? Why don't you end all of this now, right? And there's still this picture which isn't gone, and this picture isn't gone. It's just like, shut up. Right, and then there's this, and all right, fine, we'll talk about this. Or he is, oh no, Emma, I love you. You're my, oh really, no. It's like, I don't want to believe everything Lena just said about me. Yeah, the first time I was in the mental hospital, it was incredible, just totally. I mean, I was totally unhinged by it, the whole thing. And mental hospitals actually are not really as exciting as you think. They are both boring and scary at the same time, which is, pretty much the last sort of thing that anybody wants to deal with. So yeah, I mean, I think most people, I don't know. No, I'm sure I'm not. I know I'm not. I am certainly not the only patient ever masturbated in the mental hospital, and I was totally unprepared. I wasn't even 18 yet. I had no idea what to expect. I was completely freaked out by the entire place. And somebody like saw me once. I didn't mean for them to. I was in my own bed. I just hadn't drawn the curtain because I hadn't thought about it very much. She saw me, and I was absolutely mortified. And I asked her afterwards, like, a few days later, do you think I'm odd? And she was like, sometimes. And we both knew what I was referring to. Yeah, and so, and more than 20 years later, she shows up to tell these horrible people all about it, right? And here he is telling me, go ahead and die. I don't care if you do.